Right now at 6, devastation in the gorge as a wildfire destroys at least 20 homes in the blink of an eye.
I didn't have no insurance, and so I mean, this is my life. I don't have, anything else. It's all gone. And my shop is gone.
Plus, parents still searching for answers 8 years after their son was killed.
Taken from us far too soon.
Then a follow-up to a KGW investigation into big, colorful canisters of nitrous oxide. How Oregon's leaders have made it harder to get.
I just don't think that people even realize what this is or what it does.
And later, the Beavers get pumped in Omaha, heading into the College World Series.
I've been saying it all year. I think we're more prepared than anybody to go do this thing.
But first, here at 6, the Rowena wildfire that broke out west of the Dalles yesterday has now grown to 3,500 acres. Fire crews have been hitting it hard today from the air and the ground, but we have also learned that 20 homes have been destroyed. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Mulco. Thanks to gusty winds and challenging terrain, that fire remains entirely uncontained. Officials say it sparked Wednesday afternoon near I-84 between Mosier and the Dalles. And while the interstate is back open, authorities are telling drivers to slow down in the area and not to try to get into the evacuation zone.
And speaking of evacuations, level 3 go now orders remain in place for thousands of homes. Keep in mind, over the course of the day, level 1 and 2 evacuation orders have grown. We have live team coverage this evening with meteorologist Matt Safino breaking down the fire conditions and John Adams with the latest from fire crews on the ground.
But first to Devin Haskins in Rowena. Devin, the reality of this tragedy really hitting home here. You spoke with a family who essentially lost everything to the flames.
Yeah, that fire playing hit and miss on what it destroyed and what it decided to keep. Across the street, for instance, one house made it, next door neighbor's house did not. Here, there were 6 houses on this property. 4 of them were destroyed in that fire. Where I'm standing at, a huge shop, another house right over here, and those 3 other houses right behind me, just showing the sheer devastation that it caused.
Fire all around it.
A nightmare overnight.
Terrible, terrible. Smoke, wind blowing. Yeah, it was just terrible.
Frank Barber lives off Highway 30, currently a level 3 evacuation zone. When the Rowena fire sparked, his homes were right in its path.
This here was one of my rentals with my old mobile home.
Several homes now reduced to ashes.
Don't have no answer.
As he walks across the property, he points out what once was.
This over there was where the kids' trampoline was, and then you can see their bedroom was there. And then up there is where their swing set was at.
He owns 6 homes here, 4 of them rentals. All 4 lost to the Rowena fire in an instant.
When you see this, I mean, obviously there were memories here.
Yeah. I don't know.
He and his son, David,
This is where I lived right here, where my house was.
stayed through the night.
It moved so fast that, we were at level 3 and that's all, there was no other level. I mean, there was no warning.
Trying to save what they could.
And that's one thing that does bother me a lot is I lost a lot of their stuff, some mementos I was really proud of.
The fire so hot it melted car windows and destroyed memories.
That still hasn't hit me yet. I'm still trying to keep a positive attitude about everything as much as a person could.
It took what it could of Frank and David's without any care.
You work all your life and this is what happens.
Just devastating. Devin, I know you spoke to Frank and his son David. Did they tell you why they stayed in that area?
Yeah, on top of that, what now? Amidst all the grief and the loss, what are they going to do, Devin?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They said they're still trying to come to terms with what happened, especially losing so much here. And when I asked Frank why he decided to stay and try and fight the fire instead of just leaving it behind and escaping, he said he didn't have insurance and didn't want to lose it. Back to you.
Heartbreaking there. Devin Haskins on the ground in Rowena. Appreciate your reporting. Well, meanwhile, thousands of homes in the area remain under threat as evacuation areas continue to change.
Our John Adams has been checking in with fire commanders throughout the day and is live in Rowena. John, what is the latest on their progress this evening?
Yeah, Christine and David, the big struggle for them throughout the day and what's currently going on right now, that's been the story this afternoon, is the extremely high winds that are going on right now coming out of the west here in the gorge. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see that it's still fueling the fires burning in the sections of the gorge right behind me, continuing to push the fire over the last 30 hours or so toward the Dalles. Thousands of people still under evacuation orders. Fire crews continue to battle the fast-moving Rowena fire on Thursday, with work being done on the ground and from the skies.
We are literally triaging and trying to figure out which homes are still on fire, which trees are on fire. As far as containment, 0% at this point.
Smoke and flames still visible on the south side of I-84 between Rowena and the Dalles, as winds have moved the fire to the east since it started Wednesday afternoon. Crews have been able to build dozer lines around some of the fire.
So far, everything from there around the east end is holding all the way back to the origin. It's mostly this piece up on top that has no line around it yet.
At least 20 homes have been lost in the fire and more than 2,000 are threatened, according to the Northwest Coordination Center. The Wasco County Sheriff warned people against trying to re-enter the Level 3 evacuation zone.
We have rock slide dangers. I just witnessed a tree falling over here a couple hours ago when I came by, so just be thinking about those types of things, but we want everybody to stay out of there.
Officials also caution this could be the beginning of another extremely difficult fire season, with conditions looking more like late July or early August instead of mid-June. That could be even worse than what we saw during a record-breaking fire season in 2024.
We're seeing conditions that are at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ahead of where they were last year.
And that is definitely a large concern for not only folks living in this area, but fire officials as well. The Wasco County Sheriff did tell me that thankfully no one has died in this fire thus far. The Oregon Forestry Department and the Fire Marshal's Office will be conducting the investigation into how this fire started. They don't know exactly how it started just yet, but they do say it was most likely human caused. David and Christine, back to you.
Yeah, John Adams trying to get some answers in the gorge tonight. Thanks, John. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino now.
Yeah, Matt, that wind still whipping in some areas. I mean, we just heard it during John's report, really hoping it's going to weaken soon.
It's going to be a while before that happens, but yeah, you could see it, you could hear it in John's live shot, and it continues to roll. I want to take you back to yesterday when the smoke was just pouring out of the Rowena fire. Time lapse that recorded then. You can see how thick the smoke was. And we'll switch now to a live shot from that same camera out in the Dalles. And the smoke is thinner. I take that as a good sign and a testament to the great work that the firefighters are doing out there. But you can see where the smoke is coming from in the forest here on the hillside and on the mountainside. So it is still a really rough situation, as we just heard. 75 degrees in the Dalles. Humidity is low, but really the wind is so strong. I think it's just overwhelming all the other weather parameters in terms of its impact on the fire. Right now it's gusting at 36 miles an hour in the Dalles, gusted as high as 38, and the same conditions over in the Mosier area too. Now you can see the source region for the smoke. This is the smoke forecast, and it fans out into eastern Oregon. Then it thins out in the morning hours as the fire lays down just a bit because the winds lighten up. But tomorrow afternoon they come right back up, and so does the smoke plume. You can see what the winds do tonight. By about 10 o'clock they should finally drop below 30 miles an hour, and by morning they'll drop to about 15 miles an hour, but tomorrow afternoon they ramp right back up over 30 miles an hour. We will get some relief from the wind, but not until Saturday, guys.
Yeah, touch and go with that wind forecast. Appreciate it, Matt.
Another fire to the east of the Dalles is now prompting level 3 go now evacuations. The Ferry fire in Sherman County also started yesterday and has now grown to 5,000 acres. It is burning in a rural area near Cottonwood Canyon State Park. People who live north of Highway 206 and south of Starvation Lane between the east intersection of Starvation Lane and the John Day River should leave immediately. And a quick update on the two fires on the Washington side of the gorge. The Grant Lake fire is fully contained, and the Sand Hill fire is now 90% contained. We've just learned moments ago that all evacuations have been lifted for Skamania County. Officials say both fires started east of Carson near the railroad tracks. Investigators aren't saying yet whether it was a train that sparked that fire.
Well, we needed that good news in Washington. Stay with KGW as we continue to update you on wildfire conditions and progress in the gorge. For a rundown of all fire-related info anytime, including shelter availability and evacuation orders, you can head to KGW.com or check out the free KGW mobile app.
In other headlines this evening, today marks 8 years since 36-year-old Brian Spalding was found shot to death in his Northeast Portland home. Investigators say he was murdered and told his parents there wasn't much evidence, though Spalding's parents think it could have been a burglary or robbery gone wrong. Years later now, his parents are pleading for someone to speak up.
Somebody needs to do the right thing. And somebody out there knows the person that pulled the trigger.
Spalding's family and friends have raised more than $20,000 as a reward for any tips leading to an arrest.
The estate of a man killed outside a Lincoln City hotel last year is now suing that hotel for $20 million. Roland Evans Freck is accused of beating Bradley Cole to death a year ago in May and trying to take his dog in the hotel's parking lot. The wrongful death lawsuit alleges staff at the Ashley Inn knew about the suspect's threatening behavior but failed to warn or to protect other guests. Evans Freck is currently committed to the Oregon State Hospital with a murder case against him pending until he is found fit to stand trial.
To Oregon City now, where police arrested a man they believe is responsible for the major fire at the old Blue Heron paper mill earlier this year. During the investigation, detectives say they identified several people living on the site and interviewed them. That includes 21-year-old Christian Dukes from Oregon City. Dukes is in jail, charged with arson in the second degree. Police did not share how he allegedly started the fire.
And big news in Oregon's wine industry, with the Stoller Wine Group announcing it is acquiring Eluan, a portfolio of wines made in California with Oregon grapes. The group expects its total annual case production to almost double from 170,000 to 300,000. Terms of the deal haven't been made public, but Stoller will take on the brand and inventory as you might expect. Eluan's lineup is overwhelmingly Pinot Noir, with Chardonnay and Rosé playing lesser roles.
Developing this evening, ICE protests have broken out across the country, and police here in the Northwest have made more arrests.
While protests outside the South Portland ICE facility appeared peaceful today, last night police say one person stacked flammable material against the building on McAdam and another man ignited it. Officers say while they were arresting those two, a third person punched and tried to choke an officer, resulting in a third arrest.
Meantime, in Seattle, fireworks exploded on the street during a standoff between police and anti-ICE demonstrators last night. Seattle police say they arrested 8 people overnight. And in Spokane, more than 30 people were arrested. Spokane's mayor declared a state of emergency and issued a curfew that lasted overnight.